Let's talk about one of the biggest, most frustrating problems in any workplace, right? It's that huge gap between what we expect from each other and what's actually been promised. Today, we're going to learn how to close that gap for good by moving from those vague expectations to rock-solid commitments. I'm willing to bet you're nodding your head right now. You know that feeling, don't you? That sinking frustration when someone doesn't deliver on something you just assumed they would handle. Well, that's our starting point today, right in the middle of that costly, confusing world of unspoken rules. You know, this thing actually has a name. It's called the expectation trap. It's that super dangerous place where we think we're all on the same page, but in reality, we're not even in the same library. And honestly, it's a recipe for disaster. And just look at how common these traps are. A new VP joins the company, and everyone just thinks, well, they should know what a VP does. And the result? The leader struggles, and everyone thinks they're underperforming. Or what about a team project with the vague rule of everyone should contribute equally? That idea almost always leads to resentment because my idea of equal is probably totally different from yours. These silent assumptions are absolutely everywhere. So let's get really clear on what we're talking about. An expectation is just a belief, and the words that define it are always the same. It's unspoken, it's assumed, and it's vague. Now, let this really sink in. Just because someone has an expectation of you, that is not a promise you've actually made. It's just a story they're telling themselves. And the damage this causes is huge. When we run on expectations, we get total misalignment and constant conflict. We're basically setting people up to fail at jobs they never even signed up for. And maybe the worst part? We slowly chip away at the trust that holds the whole team together. It's just too high a price to pay for a lack of clarity. But here's the good news. There is a much better way. We can actually leave this fuzzy world of expectations behind and step into the clear, powerful world of commitments. This, my friends, is where high-performing teams truly live. Just look at the difference here. It's like night and day. On one side, you have unspoken, assumed, imposed. On the other, you have explicit, pledged, undertaken. You see, this isn't just a simple word swap. It's a massive shift from forcing a vague idea onto someone to having them actively take ownership of a specific task. And that changes absolutely everything. So what is a commitment, really? Well, it's an explicit promise. The very moment you say the words, "I will deliver this by Friday," something powerful happens. You've created an obligation with your speech. It's what some people call a speech act, and it is psychologically binding in a way that a silent, fuzzy expectation could never, ever be. So what does a real commitment actually look like? It's not some casual, "yeah, I'll try." A strong commitment has a very specific structure. Think of it like a recipe with 6 essential ingredients that leave zero room for misunderstanding. And here they are. A true commitment always names the producer, that's who's doing it, and the consumer, who it's for. It has a brutally specific due date and time. It clearly defines the result, and this is the most important one, the conditions of satisfaction. That means getting crystal clear on what done actually looks like to everyone involved. And this is exactly why a phrase we all hear, "I'll get to it," is so uselessly dangerous. Who's the consumer? When's it due? What does it even mean? See? Without those 6 ingredients, it's just a vague intention. It's not a commitment. It's practically an invitation for failure. Okay, this all sounds great in theory, right? But how do we actually do it? How do we take one of those fuzzy, annoying expectations and forge it into a rock-solid commitment? Well, there's a clear 4-step process we can follow. The process itself is pretty straightforward, but it's incredibly powerful. First, you just state the expectation out loud. Then you check if it's even appropriate for you to do. If it is, you structure it with our 6 ingredients, and finally, you have the conversation to lock it all in. So step 1 can feel a little direct, but it's absolutely crucial. You have to make the implicit explicit. You got to drag that assumption out into the light. Just saying something like, "Hey, I'm sensing there's an expectation here that," allows you to finally see it and deal with it. All right, next you hit a critical fork in the road. You have to stop and ask yourself, is this expectation even appropriate for my role? Is this really my job? If the answer is no, then it's time to have a conversation and renegotiate. But if it's yes, then you move forward and formalize it. Now, when you get to that final conversation, I want you to remember one golden question. This thing is magic. You just ask,
What will constitute done for you? That one question cuts through all the noise and gets right to the heart of those conditions of satisfaction. It makes sure you both have the exact same picture of success in your heads.
So, why go through all this trouble? Is it really worth it? Oh, yeah. The payoff for moving your team from a culture of assumptions to a culture of true clarity is absolutely massive. And get this, research consistently shows that unmet expectations are the #1 leading cause of conflict at work. The #1 cause. So by learning this skill, you are directly tackling the single biggest source of friction and drama on your team. And the benefits are real. They're backed by research. When you operate with explicit commitments, what do you get? You get less conflict, more accountability, and way more trust. That leads to better coordination and ultimately better performance and a real sense of ownership. Let's be clear, this isn't some soft skill. This is a hard skill for driving real results. So, that brings me to you. I want you to think about your work right now. What's that one fuzzy unspoken assumption that's causing static? Which expectation will you decide to transform into a clear, powerful commitment starting today?